Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Hi Vibin It. This is your co-host, Kelsey Aida Raldies, with also Lindsay Robinson. Lindsay, tell the folks your middle name. Now they're going to be curious since I
My
said my
middle
full
name?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Don't put me on blast like that. We're not even 30 seconds into the show.
It's cute. I think your middle
My
name's
middle
cute.
name is Sue. Like Suey? Like that.
Like what?
Like the pig. Suey. It's like the pig, Like you call a pig and you say Suey, 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 Suey.
Well, I've never called a pig, so I don't think I
Maybe
can
it's
really
from maybe
relate.
it's a Michigan thing. I don't know. I feel like people will know what I'm talking about. Anyway, my
That's
middle name
funny.
is Sue. Lindsay Sue Robinson Gutierrez.
Wow,
Full.
that's a lot of names. That's because you got that Hispanic hubby. You gotta have all the names in there. That's like the
Exactly.
Mexican way. So my name would be like Kelsey Aida Raldies Janelle. What would it be like, or my mom's maiden name, or like whatever
Your
that.
mom's maiden name is Janelle.
Mm-hmm.
That's a beautiful name.
It's French.
I love it.
Fancy.
Soup's
Anyway,
fancy.
enough
Anyway,
about our names. I was
hi
just trying
guys.
to introduce us and say welcome to the show. If you haven't listened to the show before, welcome to your very first episode. We are here to help you live your best life, to heal, to up level, to feel great, to manifest your dreams. And today we are inspired to talk about how to support yourself in meeting your own needs, getting your needs met, doing so without guilt, how to maybe compare yourself less to other people, how to feel like you're on the right path, how to give yourself permission to rest. All of these topics, they kind of intermingle into each other. So this is a theme that Lindsay has been noticing coming up with a lot of her one-on-one clients. Obviously, I think it's always relevant, and especially going into the winter, I think naturally we want to slow down, but then we're like, I can't slow down. That's terrible. We make up these stories and ideas about why it's bad to go slow. So we're going to talk about it today, and
Yeah.
hopefully it helps you guys.
So I guess the biggest thing that I want to make sure people understand, and one of the things that me and Kelsey touched on when we were talking about this is that, like she said, going into the winter, at least on this side of the world where we are, the earth is literally going into hibernation. Things are slowing down, and Kelsey brought up a good point, is that all we're doing is staying in sync with nature, and it's almost imperative. But again, we think of all of our stuff on our to-do list that we haven't done. I know I fall victim to this all the time. I took the entire month of December off, and I was excited because I could, but at the same time I was like, but how much could I get done if I took advantage of this time and actually, did all the stuff I needed to catch up on? And so I've kind of had to find a balance between, yes, staying productive, but also remembering that I earned this time off and that I get to enjoy it. And we do forget, we get to enjoy what we're doing, especially if you own your own business or you're doing your own thing. Like, you started it probably to have freedom and to have that ability to do what you needed to do when you needed to do it, instead of being pulled in every direction by somebody else. And so we don't want to forget that we still want to listen to what is calling us. So among other things, today in this episode, we really want to talk about how to tune in and really listen to what it is that you need and freaking do it.
Right?
Hallelujah.
Amen to that, sister. And a beneficial perspective here that we can try on as a family while we're listening to this is, why isn't it productive to take a break? Like, what if taking a
Right.
break is actually the recharge that you need to go back in full throttle? Or I know, at least for me, every time I take a break, that's when I get my best ideas for my next
Yeah.
book, for my next course, for my next offerings, for the best Instagram post that's going to heal somebody of whatever they're going through. Like, that's when I'm in receiving mode.
Yeah.
That's when the creation process starts.
And let's be clear too, because this also came up with a lot of my clients, especially right now as we're going into break time for a lot of places in the season in general, is that, I want to take this time. I want to do what I want to do, But let's say the thing is reading a book or like sitting down and just resting your mind. If you're sitting down and judging yourself the whole time and thinking of all the other things you could be doing, it is so pointless. Like you're going to have to redo the whole thing because your energy's not in it. But as Kelsey said, if you are aligned and you are allowing that joy and that time to relax and be productive, because you're right, it is like taking that time and listening to what you need is the most productive thing you can do at that point. Because let's say you went into robot mode, went up to your office or wherever you work or wherever you do your things, and you were just going through the motions, you're not in the game. Your energy is terrible. You feel bad even while you're doing it. And it's like the universe will respond to that. It will respond to that. But if you're feeling joy and you're allowing yourself to do what it is that you need to do in a joyful way and in a intuitive way, if you're listening to what would make your soul happy at that moment, the universe responds to that too. So it works in your favor. I don't know where I was going with this, but the energy that you have and that the state of mind that you're in while you're listening to your needs is just as important as listening to your needs. You can't be complaining and judging yourself the whole time, or you might as well start over or just not do it. But you have to do it, so do it.
Lindsay prescribes that everybody has to make sure that they are resting because it is important. But another perspective I wanted to introduce into the mix, which is like, I guess you could think of it as separate from the other one, is like, who even said being productive is more valuable than being unproductive in the first place?
Mm-hmm. Go on.
I mean, why is it bad to be unproductive? That's my question.
Well,
it's not.
Yeah.
Nothing's good or bad. We just make these stories in our mind of this is bad, this is good, this is going to get me to where I want to go, this isn't. But if we weren't going to label things as good or bad, when you're being productive, you would be being productive. When you're being unproductive, you would be unproductive. Either way, you're just being something or doing something.
Yeah. And that's where I think that's obviously different for everybody, because when they decide what productive means, for some people, productive means hitting that next success goal, or it means finally cleaning the kids' room or having them clean their room when it's been, way too long. Or productive means just like checking things off whatever to-do list that you have, which will allow, it's like almost giving ourselves permission to relax. And this is huge that I want to make sure everybody knows. Like, I really do struggle with this, like a lot.
That's why she's such an expert at
it. That's why I'm such an expert at it, because I know, and I that's the thing. Like, I do struggle with this, but I also know that it's important, and I do work to allow myself to just let go of it. And luckily, I have a really good support system. My husband is very, very good at being like, don't worry about this. I will take care of this. He's really good at helping pick up the slack. If I notice that there's clutter everywhere and I just can't sit with my crochet because there's too much in the room, then he'll help me. And so I guess, if you have a support system, even more better, tell them what you need so that they can help you as well. But even if you're on your own, just find ways, and that's what we're going to help you with today too, finding ways to weave it in, because it is so, so, so important. And I know it's like so silly to just say it's important without like, saying anything else, but it is important, and we will teach you how to do that. I think one of the best ways, just right off the cuff, is to set a timer. If you really know that you're going to feel like really a certain way about taking time out, what if you just set a timer for 10 minutes and said, for this 10 minutes, everything else can be pressed up, can press pause. Everything else can be suspended. I'm just going to be here in my going within or turning inward or crocheting or reading a book or whatever for 10 minutes, knowing full well that when that timer goes off, I am totally capable and it is okay for me to go do the thing. But for 10 minutes, I'm going to listen to my needs. Like, maybe that is your thing. Yeah, anyway, we'll get more into that as well. But I just wanted to touch on that. Like, it is a struggle. I know this is a struggle. I'm not trying to give you some kind of magic pill, because it is going to probably be a constant challenge, especially for people that are doers. I'm nonstop. I haven't even stopped talking. So like, I can't stop doing things, but I do work at it because I know it's that important. And it feels good. We have to give ourselves permission to feel good. And that in itself can be a challenge.
Yeah, and the irony, which you so cleverly pointed out, is like the reason why we want to achieve all these things and do all the things and get there to the destination is because we say, okay, once I do that, then I can relax. Right? But it's like you can just freaking like relax right now. You don't have to put yourself through hell in order to like achieve some state where you can finally give yourself permission to relax, because chances are if you're not giving yourself permission to relax right now, what makes you think you're going to give yourself permission to relax once you achieve that thing? You're
Yeah.
probably not going to, especially if you're addicted to
Right.
doing instead of being. And so it's just something not to blame yourself or shame yourself about, but when you become aware and you can have
Mm-hmm.
compassion for the part of you that's trying to get all this stuff done just so you can have permission to relax, you can realize, well, technically I could just give myself permission to relax right now.
Well, and I know like for me, okay, the biggest example that comes up is in the morning. I know so many people do their dishes at night, but I cannot. My energy's gone by the end of the night. So plus there's bath times for the kids and bedtime routines. It's just not happening. So in the morning I wake up and before I get my first cup of coffee, I'm like, I'm gonna load the dishwasher. That's my routine. And my husband's like, get coffee first. I'm like, no. That's my goal. That's my treat. Okay, I'm gonna do these
Reward.
dishes. I know I'm gonna be able to sit down with a nice hot cup of coffee versus like, you know, getting coffee, doing dishes, and then waiting for it to be, and then it'll be cold. It's always cold. But if I do the dishes first, I get to sit down with it, and it's a nice like way to, I feel good, it's done, I get to have my coffee. So that for me works. But I know that a lot of people maybe have this fear or this misconception that it's a slippery slope. Like if I don't do it now, then I'm just going to be a lazy person who never gets anything done and I'm going to live in a pigsty and I'm going to be unsuccessful, whatever it is. So I think we should talk about that as well, because I think that that's a huge thing that comes up a lot in my practice is people like, well, if I don't train myself, if I don't give myself these, you know, in a sense, prizes for doing these things, I would never do them. And then I would be the worst version of myself or whatever it is. So, I mean, I guess that's something we definitely need to touch on.
Right. It's like being addicted to doing, it stems from something.
Yeah.
It's different parts of you attempting to motivate you, right, to do something to achieve a certain result to help you get somewhere or feel some way. So a really helpful question you can ask yourself, and this is like the work that I do with my one-on-one clients, is to go really deep and ask like, well, if I don't do that thing that I think that I need to do right now, what's so bad about that? Right? What's going to happen if I
Yeah.
don't do it? And then you go down the timeline of like, what if? So,
Yeah.
Lindsay, let's do it like together. So, I'll lead you through it and then you do it. So,
Okay.
let's pick the example. What's another example of something that you feel like you always have to do it?
Okay. Feed my kids. No, I'm just kidding. What happens if I don't? Oh my gosh,
Something
that's
that
terrible.
doesn't mean life or death for your children.
Okay, well, it really would be probably, oh God, I know what it is.
Okay, perfect.
Putting the laundry away. Not doing laundry, putting it away.
That is the hard part. I'll agree with that. Okay, so putting the laundry away, just using it as an example. Miss Lindsay Robinson. I said Robinson. Robinson. I don't know what's happening with
It's my alter ego.
my words today. Sorry, guys. What would be so bad about not getting the laundry put away?
This is easy because I never actually put it away. So what would happen is they would stay in the hamper, get all wrinkly. And if you're on Patreon, you can see I have a freshly wrinkled, clean shirt on today. Listen, I'm not a perfect person, but they would stay in the hamper and we'd never know where anything was. And we wouldn't have any hampers left for the dirty clothes.
Okay, that's a good start. More importantly, what does that mean about you if the laundry doesn't get put away?
Oh, okay. Now, I don't necessarily believe this, but I know that there's a lot of people that do. It is probably stemming around like, I'm a terrible mother, I'm a terrible wife, I can't keep the house, you know. But it is very common. Or somehow I'm failing in my role in this household.
Right. So let's go with that example because I think it's like more deep and relatable. So let's say if you did think that if I don't do the laundry, that means that I'm not a good mom.
Mm-hmm.
Then what's so bad about not being a good mom? And we just keep going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So hypothetically speaking, if you believed that you weren't a good mom when you didn't do that, what does that mean?
My kids are going to be screwed up.
And then following down that rabbit hole, what does that mean if your kids get screwed up?
Okay. So it is interesting because I actually do not tie laundry to being a good mom. I think that's
Well, not
dumb.
conscious,
but well, there's many reasons why I don't. But if it is funny because if I did think that, and I'm super convinced that I don't think that. If I did, then I would think, well, if my kids are screwed up, then they will be continuing the pattern of my family, which is actually true. Now, they're not going to, but that is where I would go with it. Yes.
Going down this rabbit hole with this example, let's keep going because this is getting good. So if the laundry doesn't get done, that means you're a bad mom, which means that your kids are going to get messed up, which means that they're going to end up like your family, which means that, hypothetically speaking,
I mean, I don't know. The cycle continues. It's just terrible lives.
Right. So this isn't necessarily the case for Lindsay, but if it was, like, notice how we just tied laundry to like this existential family cycle repeating
itself.
Interesting. Because Lindsay comes from kind of a hard family dynamic. So obviously she wouldn't want to repeat that with her and her kids. And it's funny how something as seemingly simple and innocent of a task as laundry could subconsciously in your mind be tied to something so heavy. And now, like, that's where the motivation comes from, where I need to do this in order to prevent this outcome that I think could potentially happen based on my past or whatever it is. So the point that I'm trying to get at is, with yourself or with a coach or something, go down the rabbit hole of like, if I don't get this done, what does that mean about me? Or why is that a bad thing for my life? And then keep asking why, what does that mean? And get to a point where you feel like, whoa, I did not realize that this was connected to this. And then that gives you awareness. And with the awareness, you don't actually have to change. You just have to have compassion, which comes easily when you understand, oh my God, I'm compelled to do these things because I feel this way deep down inside.
Yeah, I would say in all the years I've been seeing clients and finding the ways their parents screwed them up, for lack of a better term. I think every parent screws up their kid in some way, shape, or form, just different than the way they were screwed up, and sometimes lesser and sometimes more. But I would say that in all the years I've been doing this, never once has somebody in my chair said, you know, I think it all goes back to when my mom didn't fold my laundry. Put it away. Right. It's never happened. Honestly, it never happened. And if it did, of course, there's reasons. Of course, it would be valid, but it's not something that comes up. So it is interesting that that's what it goes back to. And I think if I were to tie my role to this house in my family dynamic, I would tie it more to the wifely aspect than I think the motherly aspect, because oh God, Mom, forgive me. I didn't have a lot to, I didn't have big shoes to fill, let me just say, in the mother aspect, but the bar wasn't set very high. I love my mother so much, but it's true. And with the wife thing, I mean, I've never been a wife before, you know, and there's all these like roles and expectations for both sides, and our family doesn't check any of the traditional boxes. You know, right now I'm working and my husband is handling the children, and we are both okay with that because he has earned his time to not provide for this family right now. And so it just doesn't follow. But I think when I'm thinking about like the laundry, and maybe some can relate to this, that I would tie it more to like, does he think I'm doing a bad job? You know, which is also ridiculous because he knows where I am. He knows what I'm doing. So I think that it is important to examine the expectations you're putting on yourself and the ones that you feel are being put on you, whether intentionally or not. And maybe that will give you more insight into why, you feel so much pressure to do the thing. The dishes are just my thing, but with the laundry, I would definitely tie it more to the wifely aspect.
Yeah, what we're getting at is it's important to notice your true motivation.
Mm-hmm.
Question everything. Why am I actually doing this? What am I
Yeah.
trying to gain, or what am I trying to avoid? Usually it's something that we're trying to avoid. So, for example, if I'm trying to watch a great holiday movie, because I love watching all the corny romantic
You watch
holiday
Hallmark movies, don't you?
I watch all the Hallmark movies.
Oh,
and all the Netflix movies that are based off of Hallmark movies.
No
that are
hate on
slightly
people that
better
watch
because
them,
they're Netflix. So
but I've
I watch
never
all of
watched
them.
them.
So I'm one of those people. Let's say I'm like, woohoo, I'm gonna watch one, but then I sit down and I'm like, oh no, I'm not posting on Instagram. I'm not writing my next bestseller. I'm not with a coaching client making money. I'm not doing anything. I'm just watching this. Then this would be my opportunity to look within and be like, well, why do I feel like I need to be working? I feel like I need to be working because that means that I am getting ahead. Okay, why do I feel like I need to be getting ahead? I need to be getting ahead so that I'm still growing. Why do I need to be growing? Because I want to be growing. And so it could be something as simple as like wanting to watch a movie, but you're such a workaholic that you feel like watching a movie means that you're not growing as a human, that you're going to die, basically. If I watch this movie, I'm going to die. Like, it's that much of a threat in your subconscious mind.
Well, because let me fill in the blanks for you, because I've seen this way too many times. If I'm not growing, what am I doing? I'm shrinking. What happens if I shrink? I lose my business. I lose my livelihood. I can't pay my rent. I have to move out. I'm homeless. I suck as a person. All of these things, if you really, really follow it, you tie as the collective, all of us really tie our worth to what we're doing or not doing. We just do. We tie our worth to what we're doing or what we're not doing. And that is, I'd say maybe 50% of the time valid. And the other 50% is completely unreasonable and fake, and probably society and all these like fallacies that we've grown up with. But there are times when being productive is of course good. Of course it's good. But you need to take time for yourself. You just got to. That's the most productive thing you can do. And I love that you said that so early in the episode, because we're going to probably say it 20 more times. It is one of those things, like, what if being productive meant watching a holiday movie on Netflix? You're going to have to tell me what the good ones are, because I don't even know. But it's true. It could be the most productive thing you do, because what happens when you do watch it, Kelsey? Your head is in such a good, lighter space if you allow that time to enjoy yourself, right? Your head and your energy is all lighter and freer and happy, and you have all those good holiday feelings. And what if you get like the inspiration for your next bestseller during that moment?
Right.
It's always good. It's always good.
The rest can be an opportunity for raising your vibration really quickly, because if you actually do it, I don't want to say there's a right or wrong way to rest, but if you do it correctly, where you're not judging yourself and you're releasing all resistance, then it can have the same effect as a meditation. You're releasing resistance, your vibration naturally raises. It's like how Abraham Hicks always describes like the cork being held underwater. Like, as soon as you let go, it floats to the top by itself. You don't push it to the top, you don't pull it to the top, it just goes to the top. So that's the same with your energy. When you can release some resistance for extended periods of time, that's when you can really just open yourself up to shifting.
And let's be clear, like, the universe knows what you want. If you know what you want or how you want to feel, the universe knows that too. Source knows that. The divine knows that. You don't have to push and shove and force your way to get there faster. You just have to allow yourself to enjoy, like, okay, I've put my order in to the universe. Now I get to sit back and enjoy this time while I welcome it in, while I do what is best for me, and let the universe do its best work for me. Like, honestly, you don't have to force it. We just feel like we have to force it. It's like so counterproductive most of the time. I know, trust me. I've burned myself out way too many times to not know this as an expert.
From experience,
From
folks. We speak from
lots of
experience. So let's shift gears just slightly and talk about needs. So we've talked about rest. We've talked about how it's important to give yourself permission, how to kind of dive deep to notice your motivation to not rest so that you can have compassion for yourself and understand what's actually going on. And then diving into the needs, how can we start to, first of all, identify our needs? Because I feel like a lot of us,
I know this one,
aren't even conscious of like, what do I need? You know?
Yeah. And it's okay because we don't actually give ourselves permission to ask. We don't even think about asking. But now you know. Now you can. So if you sit, you can sit in silence, or you can just ask yourself. The answer might come easier than you think because you're actually just straight up asking. What do I need? And be careful not to say, what should I be doing? Right? Because when I say, what should I be doing? What I mean in my conscious mind is, what should I be doing to make myself happy? But that's not the message. The message is, what should I be doing to be more productive? So be very careful to say, what do I need, and not what should I be doing? Also, if you don't get an answer right away, because a lot of times we don't know, you could say, what would make my soul happy right now? And usually in a very, very quick amount of time, an answer will come. Maybe it's walking in nature. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's painting, maybe it's being creative somehow. But the point, the huge bit that here is like, when you get the answer, please don't shove it away. Don't be like, yeah, no, let's try something else. Try it. Try the first thing that comes to your mind when you ask yourself the question, what would make my soul happy? And just try it. Do not shove it away. I promise you, it's probably your soul telling you what it needs and what you need.
Yes. And you can tweak the question to get more answers. So you can ask, like, what do I need in the context of my romantic relationship? What do I need in the context of my family dynamic? What do I need from my work and my career? What do I need physically? What do I need emotionally? What do I need personally to be happy or to feel fulfilled or to not have stress? Like, what are the things in my life that I need? These are non-negotiables. You cannot unneed your needs, but you can identify them, and then from there consciously seek to meet them yourself or have them met in healthy and direct.
And it's probably the thing you've already thought about but have shoved aside and not done for a long time. It's probably the thing you're like, ooh, I could do that. Nah, let's do this instead,
So let's give some examples.
Okay, I love examples.
Personally, I know that I need a lot of variety, especially in my weekly schedule. I know that I've tried working 5 days a week, doing the same thing every day, and it just does not work for me. My schedule, people are like, what is your life? Because my schedule is very different than most people's, because I know that I need variety. So I give myself lots of variety. I switch it up every day. One day's for this thing, one day's for that thing. And so that helps me to feel good and to be happy and to be in my element. Lindsay, what's something that you need in any area of life?
Honestly, the one thing that I always feel like I need is I just want to turn off my conscious mind, because I learned about myself pretty recently, actually, is that I'm constantly going. Like, my conscious mind is constantly like, I'm a doer. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? And then I can relax. But as we said before, sometimes I never get to the end, so I don't get to relax. So what I do is I just shut down and I just leave. Like, I will zone out watching TV, and it's not necessarily productive. I will say that I would much rather lay down in a quiet room and just be and let my energy settle. And I have been getting better about that. But if I don't, then I will just kind of zone out. So I need to quiet my mind. I need to be able to be and just be. Maybe do something absent-minded. Like when I sit and crochet, like that is a way for my mind to just kind of float away. And I'm just, I'm able to focus on what I'm doing, but I'm not thinking a million and one thoughts like I normally am. maybe some of you can relate. And I really, really, really highly recommend crochet or knitting or any kind of granny activity because they're very slow and wonderful. Gardening's great, although it is getting cold. But yeah, anything like that is really good for me. And nature, anything in nature. Any granny activity, especially with glasses. When I wear my glasses in a high bun and I'm crocheting, my husband just laughs and laughs and laughs. So I love being a granny.
Nice. Let's think of a couple more examples before I move on. Something else that I need is to move my body.
I don't need to do that.
Majority of the days of the week. So for me personally, I try to go to the gym or a Pilates class or a yoga class or even just go for a walk like almost every day. Because I need to move, I need to flow the energy, I need to breathe more deeply. It feels nice to sweat. I feel like I don't need to sweat, but it is nice. So yeah, that's another example for me.
I will say for me, that is one of the things, okay, for being a specific example would be yoga. That is one of the things. Remember, guys, when I said like it's probably the thing you've thought you should be you should do for your health and well-being, and you will deep down need it, but you keep putting it aside. The thing that comes up is probably the thing you need to do. For me, that would be yoga, and it is the thing I keep shoving aside because I know I'll feel great. I know it's going to align my energy. I know it's going to help my breath work. I know it's going to relax me. Why don't I do it? I don't know. I make up excuses all the time. Like my kids will be climbing on me. I won't be able to find any peace because there's no space to do it. But if I wanted to do it, I could do it.
Well, that's just probably means that some part of you feels threatened. Like if you did that, that would be bad for some reason. Like if I did yoga, that would be an hour away from my kids. Or if I did yoga, that would be an hour away from my business.
But they have 10-minute yoga videos, Kelsey.
That's true.
You know what it is? I just think that afterwards I'll be more tired than I already am. And I don't have the, I can't be more tired.
After 10 minutes, you'll definitely feel energized after 10 minutes.
I know.
If you go for 10 hours, you'll be more tired. But 10 minutes.
I honestly don't know why.
You can do it.
I really don't. I need a journal around that. Why do I have such an aversion? Because I used to do yoga. I used to do it like at least 3 times a week in my living room. I don't know. It's interesting.
Something to explore. Hey there, thanks for watching this video. If you'd like to watch the extended version where you get the full podcast episode in a video format, just go to patreon.com/highvibe. The link is in the description. That's where you can become a supporter of the show, listen to all the episodes via video format, and each week you get extended versions of the show, meaning you get to see the pregame behind the scenes, and also you get an extended interview with whoever we're guesting, or if it's me and Lindsay, we usually pull cards for you guys, fun stuff like that. So go check it out. There's lots of cool goodies, including a free copy of my book, a free audio hypnosis from Lindsay. She's a hypnotherapist. And yeah, we just want to give you all the goods, all the content. So head over to patreon.com/highvibe to become a Patreon.
Or if you'd rather listen to the rest of this episode, head over to highvibinit.com where you'll see all the links to everywhere that it's getting streamed. Click your favorite one and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Thanks for listening.